Hello everyone, welcome back to another new topic on English literature. I'm Shiji Mohan, and in this class we'll be exploring some of the major works of Chaucer. Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales is of course one of the loved works in the history of English literature, and this video will cover his other amazing works as well. So let's dive in. Now, as you can see, Chaucer's literary career is divided into three phases or periods. It begins with the early phase or the French period, which lasted up to 1370. Thereafter, the middle phase or the Italian period that continued till 1387, and the late phase or the English phase, which began after 1387 and continued till his death in the year 1400. Now, let me tell you why these periods are termed as French period, Italian period and English period. Chaucer began his literary career under the influence of medieval French literature. Now, how is that? Well, Chaucer was a civil servant and he also participated in the 100 Years' War between England and France. That is, he joined the English army's invasion of France during the 100 Years' War. And the frequent visits to France exposed him or brought him in close contact with the French literature and culture. And the works written during this period were highly influenced by the styles of French writers such as Guillaume Michau, Jean Froissart and so on. So the works written during this period have all the forms and manners of the contemporary French writers. And he was not just influenced by the French writers, but was immensely inspired by the classical writers like Ovid and Virgil. Next is the Italian period. Chaucer traveled to Italy in the year 1372. On some diplomatic mission, and he was inspired by the Italian masters such as Dante, Petrarch and Boccaccio, and he learned the narrative structure and other techniques of these Italian writers, and you could see that these works written during this period show some progress compared to the works during the French period. Next is this very important period in his literary career, and that is the English period. Now, unlike French and Italian period, it's not just the literary influence. He was influenced by the type of life in England. Of course, the Italian and French elements were there in the works written during this period, but he was highly influenced by the social classes of the time or the contemporary society in medieval England. So this is how these periods are termed as French period, Italian period and English period. Now let's move on to the major works of each period separately. The first work that we are going to discuss is Romance of the Rose. Well, originally this is an old French poem titled Roman de la Rose, and Chaucer translated this old French poem into Middle English as Romance of the Rose or Romance of the Rose. And this is an allegorical love poem which is written in the form of dream vision. So this is a dream allegory, and it's written in the form in octosyllabic rhyming couplets. Octosyllabic means each line has 8 syllables, and couplet in the sense that 2 lines or 2 successive lines rhyme with each other. Now, regarding the authorship of this poem, the poem was begun by one author and was completed some 50 years later by another author. So this is a dual authorship or collaborative authorship, which means this work is attributed to 2 authors, and it's up to you to find out the names of the writers of this French work. Now, another point regarding this work is that Chaucer did not translate the whole work. It's an incomplete or partial translation into Middle English. Next is the Book of the Duchess, again a dream allegory. Now, as we move on, you'll encounter quite a few dream allegories written by Chaucer. So you should have an idea of what this literary genre is all about. Now, dream allegory is a mode of narrative that is extremely popular in the Middle Ages or in medieval literature or poetry. And in a dream allegory, the narrator falls asleep and dreams, and the events of the dreams becomes a story. So the events and characters act as symbols. They convey a hidden meaning. And if you look at Dante's Divine Comedy, it's a great medieval poem which is a dream allegory. And we also have William Langland's Piers the Plowman. Langland is also a contemporary of Geoffrey Chaucer. But after the Middle Ages, the dream allegory convention faded out, or it diminished. But still you could find some dream allegories in the works of writers such as John Bunyan, who wrote Pilgrim's Progress, and Lewis Carroll, who wrote Alice in the Wonderland. So over to Chaucer's first dream allegory, that is the Book of the Duchess. Now this is not just his first dream allegory, but also his first narrative poem and his first major work as well. And it's also written in octosyllabic rhyming couplets. Now this is an elegy written in the form of dream allegory. Now it's an elegy lamenting the death of Blanche, who is the Duchess of Lancaster, and she is the wife of John of Gaunt, who is Chaucer's patron. So John of Gaunt is Chaucer's patron. Now this poem serves the twin purpose of elegy as well as eulogy. Now elegy in the sense that it mourns the death of the Duchess of Lancaster named Blanche. At the same time, it consoles her bereaved husband John of Gaunt. And eulogy in the sense that it praises or glorifies the Duchess. So this is all about the Book of the Duchess.